Hello, in today's video I want to show you how to clean, maintain, inspect and store 4 tools that we use in forest school. I'm going to start off by looking at the pruning saw. This is a folding pruning saw with a lockable mechanism on the end of it, so it locks into place after you've unfolded it. So what I would do before I use any of these tools is give them a good inspection. So what I'm looking for is any defects, cracks, splits, or any loose nuts and bolts. Okay, so this one looks okay, so I'm going to open it up now. I'm carefully going to open it up. I'm pinching the handle with between my fingers and my thumb. I'm using my fingers and my thumb on this hand, and I'm opening the blade like so. Okay, so I've opened the blade. I'm going to check the locking mechanism works, and I'll click it into place like that. And I want to just give the blade a little bit of movement there to make sure that there's no excess movement in the blade. Then I'm going to look down the inside of the fold, make sure that there's no debris in there, and I'm going to check the blade to make sure that there's no sap or water left on the blade that will cause it to rust. Okay, so I can't see anything there, so I've got an oily rag that I use. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the oily rag, and I'm carefully keeping my fingers away from the teeth. Okay, so you don't want to touch any of the teeth on that blade. Keeping my fingers away, just going to run the oily rag along the blade using a pinching motion. Okay, cleaning the excess sap away. That's done, and it all looks to be in good working condition. So I'm just going to get a little bit of WD-40 and squirt that there in the joint, and I'm going to unlock the blade and carefully, using the same process as I did to open it, fold the blade back into place. Okay, so that's the inspection and the cleaning of a pruning saw. Storage for the pruning saw: store all my sharps in a metal box, then it's padlocked up and kept in a padlock cupboard. So you can never be too careful, so everything gets put away and locked away twice. The next thing that we're going to look at is my axe. My preference for axes is an all metal axe. So the reason I prefer this is because very often or not you'll find the head of an axe will come off the handle. If you've got a solid axe that's metal all through, then you haven't got to worry about that. So it makes maintenance a lot easier, and I believe it lasts a lot longer. So we'll remove the axe from its case like so. Again, you want to give it a quick inspection, make sure there's nothing loose. But as I said before, this is a solid axe, so it's all metal, handle's metal, it's all in one piece. Okay, it's made by Anglo Arms, very good knife, axe. And what I'm going to do now to clean this axe is I'm going to get my oily rag once again. Here I can see there's some sap on there, so get my oily rag. I'm holding the head in my hand like so. Okay, then I'm going to get my rag and I'm going to draw it away from me. Okay, now while I'm doing this, I make sure that none of my digits and none of my bodily parts are passing that blade. Okay, I don't mind the rag passing it, but I don't want anything else going past that blade. The blade is facing away from me, so I flip it over. I do the same process then on the other side. Okay, just cleaning off the excess sap and water. And I've done that, and I've got a clean axe. Next now will be sharpening the axe. Okay, so to sharpen the axe I use a oil stone. Again, blade will be facing away from me, and I'll be laying my axe down flat on the stone like so, lifting it up until I can feel it hitting on the bevel edge. And once it's on that bevel edge, I'm going to push the axe away from me. And I'm going to do this 10 times on each side. Then I'm going to reverse and do 10 times on the other side. And then I'm going to count them down to 0. And once I get to 0, I should have maintained the edge on my axe, okay? So start off flat, tilt it up, find the bevel. Once you found that bevel, push it away from you, like so. Okay, once I've done that, I'm just going to place the rag on the table bench like that, and I'm just going to clear the oil off the blade. I'll return the axe to its case. So. Click it together, place it in my metal box which I store all my sharps in, lock it up, put it away. Okay, next thing we're going to look at is our bushcraft knife. Okay, so we're going to remove it carefully from the sheath, pinch the end of the sheath, and then push the blade away from you as you remove it. Okay, so I'm going to inspect the knife now if I'm looking for rust, and I'm never touching the blade. Very important. I've seen many people test the sharpness of a blade by running their fingers along it or across it. Don't do that. You don't need to. Okay, so you're looking for defects really. So you're looking for any gaps, marks, bashes, cracks, splits, burrs, anything on your blade that shouldn't be there. Okay, and there's nothing on there. You have a nice safe blade. The lanyard on there is secure, everything's secure. Alright, so now we're going to look at the maintenance of this. So it'll be the same principle as the axe, only instead of pushing the blade away from you, this time you're going to draw the blade to you. So place the knife on the stone like so, tilt it up until you can feel that you've hit that bevel, and then drag the knife down the stone like that. And it's the same principle on the other side. Lie it down flat, tilt it up until you feel it on that bevel, and then slowly draw the knife along the stone, like so. Now you would use the same principle here as the axe, so I always start on 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on each side, and then by the time I get down to 1, I should have maintained the edge that I need on my knife. So place a rag on the table like so, and just pushing the knife away from you, just clean the excess oil off. And now we're going to look at the strop. So a strop is basically a piece of hide on a stick. I made this one myself, and I've got a little bit of a polishing block. And what you're doing is you're taking the very fine burrs that you've just put on there with the stone off with the strop. Okay, so get your strop, rub a little bit of the polish on it. Now it's the same principle as you used with the sharpening stone. So place your knife on the strop, tilt up until you feel the bevel, and then drag it along the leather. Same principle again, 10 on each side, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that should polish your blade and take away all the rough edges. You haven't got to put a huge amount of pressure on this. Okay, and then once you've finished your stropping, then to test that your blade has a nice edge, just get a stick and try it out. Okay, and that is a good solid edge. So we're going to place that back then into the sheath, like so. Edge is always facing away from you. Click it in and put it back into the steel container where you'd store it, and it gets locked away in the cupboard, same as the rest of the tools. Okay, the last tool we're going to be looking at today is my auger. Okay, so augers are quite sharp, and the only reason I do an inspection on these really is to make sure that they haven't been dropped and dented really. So I remove them from the packaging, and I'm literally only doing a visual inspection. Okay, so I'm visually looking at this for defects, okay, or anything that could cause this tool not to work properly. As I explained, you've got to know how a tool works for this to happen. So you have a tapered tip. This screws into the wood that you're boring and draws the bore in itself. It draws the auger in itself. So there's no energy really that you need to be putting in pushing this in. Okay, you've got the first section where you're pushing it in and catching the thread. Once the thread's caught, it'll draw itself in and do all the work for you. Alright, so we're just looking basically along the welds now as well, make sure that there's no gaps or that everything is as it should be. Alright, and it does appear to be. There's a little bit of sawdust left on there, so I'm just simply going to blow it. Blow the excess dust off. Place it back in the sheath, like so. And place it back in there. Fasten the lid. And there's my auger. I'm going to put that back in my metal container, padlocked up and stored away. Same with this one here. All my knives are in lockable containers. And you need to do it. You need to make sure all your stuff is stored safe. Now this video is it is the demonstration that I give at the end of my sessions. So I will demonstrate the maintenance and storage and the care of all my tools at the end of any session. I think it's important to make participants understand the importance of keeping your tools clean and making sure that they're safe to use before you use them. Alright, thank you, bye.